Well, you've just come back from Florida, where you recorded. You may have seen this. It's a little known video online. Only blew up like physically everywhere it could have. Showing off your DMC skills, your entry for the finals.
That's right.
And how is the DMC contest going?
Well, I took first place in the world, so got my first solo world championship. So that was great. It was 13 out of the 15 judges, including Craze and Hubert, all my heroes, placed me first. So happy about that. Couldn't be happier. And plus, the best part about it is it broke out to people who don't like scratching normally. It really got to people who it transcended turntablism, which really made me happy. This will be my 5th or 6th time to DMC World Finals. I always have a good time. It's like a bunch of guys that went to college together, hanging out and still continuing our degrees, if you will. I'm going for my PhD right now.
Oh, I see. We're at PhD level. You've done all the prereqs.
Yeah, I got my master's. Now it's time for the PhD.
Speaking of sort of excelling at things, the video that you put up is phenomenal, and it shows a lot of things that people probably weren't ever used to seeing, especially in scratch turntablism. So can you just kind of talk me through how, the idea for your entry came, how long it took to shoot and sort of plan, and then, we'll talk a little bit afterwards about how it kind of rocketed and ascended to this sort of legendary viral status.
All right. Well, it's a big question, and to start it, it's from passion. I felt something like I just wanted so badly within me to do DMC online by myself. My brother Vect from the Fresher Thens won the year before, and we had also won the DMC online teams together. And I've been battling in DMC since '99. Took a little break, but so it's always been a passion of mine. But something came up, and it said, in my inside, I really wanted to do it. But I thought, if I'm going to do it, I have to do it different than anybody else has and bring something to the table that nobody else has. However, that brings up gimmickry. People often find, what if I wear a hat while I do, etc. So I had to think outside the box and think, how can I use the stuff that I've been learning playing festivals over the last 10 years? All this, because DMC Online has no rules, as opposed to the other DMC battles where you can only use 2 regular turntables and a mixer. So that opened up the possibility of doing my melodic scratching, and it was a long time that I've been wanting a fretless fader. That's what this is. Fretless fader allows me to change notes on my turntable. Explain more later. I had to build my own off of some plans I found on the internet, and this isn't the same one I used in my battle, as you see, but this is the John B's original. John B's is the creator of the fretless fader. So that's one aspect of the technology that I was using to enhance my set, or to stand out musically.
And let's not undersell this. John B's is almost sort of a myth in terms of this fretless fader.
100%. He put it out in 2009, and everybody wanted one but couldn't hear from him or tried to reach to him. When I had built mine, I reached him again and said, look, I just want you to know that I respect what you do, and he said, hey, well, take a look at this. I'm putting this out, and you can have the first one. So this is the first one available commercially. It's going to be, anyways. So this is my favorite instrument right here. But then also I use a Controller 1 turntable. You'll see it on the far left of my setup. Now that allows me, that was designed by DJ Woody and a few other people through Vestax. Now, there's only 50 of those in the world, but it allows you to change notes up to 2 octaves. And I added a wah-wah pedal for expression, and a couple of other things to help me along the way, like a power-off switch for my turntable. But those are the technical aspects of it. And the other side of it was me trying to find my voice in today's battle scene, and to try and elevate without gimmickry. So there's at least 3 things that I did in my routine that have never been done before. Fretless fader, first one to use the Controller 1. But also there's a routine where I don't use the crossfader at all to do a juggle, and I use cue point buttons with my thumb on the cue points and my hand on the record. So there's a lot going on there. If you look a little closer, you have to be a bit maybe more technical to understand, but the best part about what I ended up coming up with is musical to the degree where you don't really need to know how technical it is, and that was my aim. And I truly found my voice and understood who I was as a musician and a turntablist more than ever after this battle.
So after you did the video, you uploaded it, what happened then? In between the time you uploaded it and obviously winning DMC. What happened?
Well, here's the thing. So actually here, so I'm recording, and I was recording for about 5 days, and I got a take. Vect, 5-time world champ, Vect, my bro, Fresher Thens. He's like, send me your best take today, because I was like, I don't know, this routine is really hard. I don't know if I can do it to what I want, to what I see, to that end result. And he's like, just show me what you got. So I showed him, and he's like, wait, what's wrong with this video? And I said, well, I think I could do a little better. And he said, okay, well, keep going then. And I kept recording. I couldn't get what would satisfy me more than that. And then I realized, because it's hard once you do the routine over and over again, you lose sight. I realized this actually is the best take, and everything in there is what I wanted it to be. There was no mistakes. But when you're trying to do the best, you see sometimes a little further, but music is also open to interpretation, and when everything is totally musically correct, and I love this routine, I'm so proud of this video. So I just woke up out of it, I said, oh, this is the one, uploaded it, and then when I let it out to the public, the morning of the DMC, it was just about an hour later flooded with messages. Couldn't expect that. It was far greater of a moment than the actual moment where I won.
What kind of messages are you receiving? I'm assuming that there's a lot of technical questions. Had a lot of people kind of heard of you before, or did you get anyone that kind of like called you up that day being like, oh, hey, I know that it's been like 3 years, but I've just seen your work. Do you want to do something? Like, what happened?
I'd say yes to all the above. But the more people reach and the more people love, the more it's great. It's all... I love the responses I'm getting, whether people are asking me, how do you do what you do? I want to replicate that, it's flattering. Or, hey, I'm glad to see you're doing so well. Let's work together, and I haven't heard from you in a while. That's great. I want to work with you all. And more than that, people who don't normally look into turntablism, or even the people who stay away from turntablism because they feel it's a little too much for them or they don't enjoy it, have praised it and said, wow, this is what I've been waiting for. And that's what it's transcended turntablism, and that is what really made me feel great.
Were there a lot of people saying that's all well and good that you've done this in your apartment, but I bet it's not like that live? Because your show is very similar live. You're very physical in terms of actually doing the processes live as it happens.
It doesn't really matter what people say. There will always be people who say, oh, you can't. But there was a video seamless from beginning to end with no editing showing what I can do. I did that as a human being on planet Earth. So they can be jealous if they want. I mean, I guess, but I think it comes from jealousy or themselves feeling like they, as turntablists, don't need an excuse why they don't have to push further. But I don't take it as an offense. I take it again as like props. It's like everybody's giving me the biggest props by talking about it because it is real. And at my live shows, it's a bit different because I'm not there to try to push the technical aspect as far as I can possibly. I'm there to relate a musical expression, and it doesn't always need the most technical scratch. But there is a time and a place for all of that, and I try at my live shows definitely to show how far it can go, but I'm more about just playing my songs. For example, if you're a country singer or like a folk singer, you might just have a 3-chord song where you sing, but it touches people and makes them cry.
Where do you see your live show going from here?
Oh, I've seen it in my head as a picture for years. Once everything gels right and people's schedules turntablists are the most busy guys in the world, let's say. They're always trying to put... So I need Vect and one other turntablist, and I need a guitarist. His name is Cabignac. He's from Germany. I work with him. He was on Thievery Corporation's label, ESL. But just to give him a little bit of props. But basically a guitarist, 3 turntablists, potentially a drummer, visuals, which I've already been working on the visuals, touring, festival show. But for right now, what it is a optional 2 show. One is me solo with visuals, doing my my songs. Another one is me touring with Vect. I really like touring with Vect because when we're performing together, we feed off of each other. Plus the crowd also loves to see two people jamming with each other more than just one guy for an hour. But it's more fun and lively for me. So I definitely want to see him in my shows more.
When you're working with Vect, do you find that you do a lot more freestyle stuff? Do you
everything is calculated.
Still calculated.
Everything's calculated down to, and Vect will even make me calculate more. He'll be like, "Hey, wait a minute, that's not exactly what we agreed on," which I love about working with him because we have an image together that we try to uphold.
It's like he sort of
in terms of the sonics, not
not. I must look my best at all occasions.
There you go.
What is the worst thing about touring or live shows? Because everyone has that small bugbear. For you, what is it?
Socks.
Socks are bastards.
Yeah.
Do they always go missing?
Missing, not enough of them, buying them at airports. That's the worst.
Maybe you could just go in sandals from now on. Just nothing.
That's what my wife says. She said, just wear flip-flops.
See, I like Mrs. Brace. I feel like she's got it down. She knows what's up.
Yeah, well, 6 months in Florida with flip-flops are great. But no, I love touring. Hotels, planes, all that. I've been flying on planes since I was 3 years old, and I love it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's all fun for me, and I'm a warrior. So when it comes to like getting up after, like growing up, I would take a show, finish a show, go to the airport, get a flight at 6 a.m., get back home. If that's where I needed to be, like back when I was in university, when I was like 19, 20, when I was doing it like that.
God.
Yeah, because there's no way I'll pass up an opportunity, but there's no way I'll also let go of my personal goals. But then as I got older and I could only work just strictly on music, it was just the more the merrier. Put me on tour and I'll see you in a few months, and it's great. I love it.
So do you think the key to being a successful turntablist is definitely driving yourself with passion?
Look,
I mean, obviously skill helps.
I think that passion is something that you either have or you don't, or that you need to channel or find out what yours is. But in terms of being a successful turntablist, you have to work and just put in hours and learn. Because a lot of times people say, oh, that's too difficult. Anything a DJ can do or has done, you can do. You just haven't put enough time in yet.
Do you ever have really, really awful days? Are there ever days where you've wanted to just smash equipment?
Oh yeah, I'm a skateboarder, so I've been skateboarding since 1991. And when I first got my turntables, I had to remember that they were not skateboards and not to throw them, because when you break a skateboard, you can get another one. Well, a turntable is not so much. It's especially growing up. So I definitely had to learn how to channel my my frustration and aggression towards like not arriving at my goal. but yeah, you just walk away for a minute. That's all. And the thing is, you grow with it. Turntablism, D Styles said it best. We have mistakes are part of our culture. Whereas a guitarist, piano player, they can be perfection, but a mistake is just part of us since day one. And we're using equipment that wasn't meant for making music. So when you accept that and realize what you are as a musician, nothing will really upset you anymore. And also, being upset there's no room for it. It's like, logically, if you can just get that out, you'll have more time to focus on getting to your goal. So it's really about being a bit zen, I guess, if you will, and just realizing like, hey, we don't have enough time. Let's be angry after the DMC.
I like that. Like, I don't have time to be angry right now. Now you're releasing your first single.
That's right. Today on the Daily Mail. Shake My Head.
Shake My Head. And how did that kind of come about? Did you have that? Do you have all these sort of songs that you've had across your rightly expansive career? You've been over nearly 2 decades now, right?
That's right.
Do you have all these songs kind of, in the bag, kind of sat on a hard drive? Or are you still basically like, I'm going to do something really fresh. I'm not going to let it stagnate. I'm just going to go with what I feel like at the minute. Everything
that I make, like this project has been 2 years in the making, and it's a third installment of a trilogy that I made. The first installment was called Nostomania. I got a Juno Award, it's like a Canadian Grammy for that, and I got the second album was Synesthesia, and it was it got nominated for a Felix Award, which is the Quebec Music Awards. So it's always been a plan, and it's part of something. This is just maybe timely that the DMC came out, but I was already planning to release my album and been working hard on it. This is all fresh material. Nothing you ever hear from me has been sat in a hard drive. There's a lot of time and planning. There's every part of this album has been thought out. And the funny part about this song, though, is I'm so particular, if you're asking me about pulling things out of my hard drives, etc., that when I wrote the beat for this single, I was not into it. And I said, my wife came in the room, and I said, look, she's like, what did you make today? You know, and then I said this. She said, "Oh wow, this is one of your best, you know." And I said, "No." And I had my finger on the off button, and I hadn't saved it yet on the MPC. And she's like, "No, don't save it for me." And so I said, "Okay, you know what? I'll save it for you. I'll save it for you." So I saved it, and it ended up being what I think, my best work.
That's incredible. So realistically, we have to thank Mrs. Brace.
100%.
For saving the DJ Brace single that you're about to listen
100%, because I'm very picky about what I put out, and I didn't see at that moment the potential, like it wasn't, but I carve it out. I have the vision in my head, and with the tools that I have around me, I make it, you know, I sculpt it into what it needs to be. I see the end result in my head, and I just keep going step by step until I arrive.
So if we can kind of touch on your marriage a little bit, does
Sure.
your wife come to all of your shows? Does she come to some of your shows? Is she quite cool with the whole touring life, or?
Well, she tries to make it when she can. If it's local, she'll be there, and she's a hard worker too. So she's got, and she's an artist on top of that. So she's got, you know, a fair amount on her plate. But she's the most supportive person in my life for music, and she's always trying to help further it. So if she's there, she's most likely backstage or side stage, just making sure, and then we talk after. She's like giving me, you know, my rating, because she knows what my best is.
Amazing.
Yeah. She helps me get better. No, it's for sure.
I just really enjoy the idea that she takes notes.
Oh yeah, you did this last time. That scratch was a little better. Try to do that one that you did at the previous show again next time.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, no, she's great.
Oh my God, there you go. Who needs critics? Fuck critics, get married. That's a single waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Fuck critics, get married. This new single that you've got coming out, tell me a bit about what inspired you to write that, and what inspired you behind the scenes to create the single.
Okay, well, Shake My Head, originally, like I said, it was almost a throwaway. And then as it kept developing, I went for a session in Germany with my friend Cabignac, who we've produced an album with before, with the Ancient Astronauts, and you can Google all them and check the previous work just to see some background. But he has a great vibe. We work well together, and I wanted him on this album. So I went to his house in Germany. We sat for a week, and we worked on a couple songs together that I'd already started. And one was Supersonic, and which you'll hear in the future. And one is Shake My Head. And as it was coming along, I found the vocal for it. And we were in the studio. We looked at each other, and it made sense, and what I was saying vocally. And I was laying all the scratches out, and then we knew where it was going. And for me, music is about open interpretation, so I'm not going to tell you what the song means for a reason, because my albums, which I'll explain in the next little bit, are for the people to understand in their terms. So I don't tell people what the songs mean, because it's for you to decide. However, the sonics, as they developed, the song was telling me more. And here comes my wife again at the end, before I sent the single away. She said, "That part right there, you got, that needs to be, you know, a little better." And I was like, "Really? I'm sending the single to master right now." And then I went in, and she was right. I didn't know what it was. She didn't know what it was, but it just came to me, and I figured it out, and it became even more what it was supposed to be. And so I saw the vision for it, and it really became the, I don't know how to explain it, but maybe that the black sheep that ended up being like the most famous out of the herd. Now, just to explain about what my albums are about, so you can see what I meant by open interpretation. Nostomania, first album. Nostomania means the uncontrollable urge to return home. Now, each one of my songs, they come with a picture, and the titles normally are NH, because my project is called the Electric Nose Hair Orchestra. Why is it such a silly name? Why? Why is it such a silly name?
Because otherwise it's pointless.
The reason it's a silly name.
If you don't have ridiculous demo names.
The reason it's a silly name is, if you see it, you don't feel like it's overbearing and when I used to pick up an album when I was 13 on the corner, when they were selling the new records, I would be like, wow, like where's this journey going to take me, and now you pick up an album, you know what their marketing plan is, you know what the song means by the title, you already have preconceived notions, so it's already built up for you. But here, you're forced to listen and sort of create your own meaning. And so I want people to take back music to themselves, to where it's like we buy clothes for ourselves, we buy food for ourselves, we buy food and music for ourselves. So we have to get back to this is for us, the listeners. And that's what I'm concerned about, is I want not just for them to have fun, but for them to feel their own, to generate their own thoughts of what the world means to them, instead of being told what to think. That's my whole artistic premise with my trilogy album.
Which is nice, because you're literally almost sort of almost sensory deprivation, because you're not giving them the information for their brain to work.
That's the best way anybody put it.
How is it that you stay so humble when you're doing so well at the minute? I know that you've obviously had this massive career beforehand, and this video has really sort of propelled you into, I don't want to say mainstream, but a lot more people's
say
eyes.
mainstream, I hope so.
You've really kind of pushed through the wall. How do you kind of stay humble? Because surely you would have got hundreds of offers from places after that.
Oh, lots. It's over, like, at the right time, my team jumped in, and I could really see that Packwood Entertainment is really rooting for me, and that Costume Records are making sure that I don't miss opportunities, and that I focus on the right things. So I'm really happy for my machine, that the brace machine is working. But I guess you're asking me how I stay humble. That's something a humble person, I don't know how they would answer. But at the same time, I don't know if that's what I'm just focused. And I'm happy as a human being. I'm on planet Earth right now. I'm doing music, and I'm with a great wife, and I love life, So this is just a great day where I can continue my artistry. I don't really see a point in changing how I am as a person. I'm just focused, like I said, on what's next. After this, I go back and practice for DMC, and I have, even right now, I feel the urgency of how much longer will it take till I get home so I can start practicing and put in, that'll mean 7 hours today, and so on. So I'm really focused on that, and I have a team that can help me be that way, so I'm happy. So yeah, maybe that's why.
Just kind of stemming off from that, do you have any bizarre rider requests when you're touring?
Well, my agency actually put coconut water on there for me, as like they just made a rider for me, and I was like, well, I kind of like coconut water.
So
why not? I'm not going to say take it off, but it's not something I asked for, so that's why I'd say it was the weirdest thing. But it's like, okay, coconut water's healthy, but no, you know what? My rider's very straightforward. A table that is strong and does not budge, because I need to put my turntables on it, and you'd be surprised at what kind of shows with wobbly tables. Needles skip. I can't skip, so that's my main thing. Bottle of water, because even right now, as I perform, when I do interviews, I need to drink a lot. So I keep it to the most basic fundamentals, that what I need to be 100% on stage. And the green M&M's bowl, maybe in 10 years, but right now I'm just focused on making sure my show is perfect.
Right. You've got to get your shit together before you start making wild.
Yeah,
wild
I'm really just about the show. Like, I can get my own M&M's and coconut water for real. I just want to make sure that when I get there, that there's no shoddy table, that if they can, they provide all the equipment. Because if I'm flying to, say, Barcelona or somewhere, it's really tough to carry a lot of equipment. And the older I get, the harder it is to, in 2004 DMC World Finals, I'm carrying on to London 2 turntables, a mixer, a bag with a trolley with all my clothes, and I'm like hobbling along, you know what I mean? And these things, I was 24 at the time.
Yeah.
So these things are things I'm looking forward to getting out of the picture. So my arms are in great shape when I get there, and then I'm not like broken down. So that's what a great thing about a rider is, but I try to keep the weird stuff off and just keep it normal, make the show right.
I hear you. Speaking of shows, is there anywhere that you have in terms of a dream performance? Is there a dream gig or a dream festival or a dream stage somewhere?
Oh, well, Shambhala. I'd love to play Shambhala in Canada. That's one of my favorite festivals. Of course, Coachella, just to get to the mainstream people and actually like show them what real turntablism is about. I'd love to play in Central Park because ever since growing up here, I grew up here as 11 to 14 with my father, and I would see musicians play there. But those are some of the three top. Jazz Fest in Montreal. I think I'll be performing there next year. I was supposed to play there a few years ago, opening for DJ Shadow, but he had to cancel. I think he got sick. So, but there's also just the part of me that wants to get into the subway and bring my turntables and just play there. That
would be so good.
I know you have to register for it or something, but I would really love to do some busking. And I know that it's far cry from what you're talking about festivals, but I'll play any festival. I love performing, but those three are the top, and I love being in front of people when they don't expect it to. The busking thing, which I did a little bit of in Montreal, not much, but with the mobile scratch crew there that they have there, I would tag along and we would do routines in public. It's a great feeling. Yeah. And portable scratching is a big phase now, where I have a mini turntable with a mini crossfader, and I can just sit in a park, and I do, and just scratch. Now that's not as much as my routines, it's just more freestyle. But it feels good. I love being outside.
It almost like it sort of resets you back to zero, because you've got such a complicated setup, and then to go back to basics, but yet you're not constrained by a set of rules.
Well, I've always been jealous of graffiti writers because they have a pen and they can get down wherever they want. Me, I have to like set all this stuff up and plug it in. I would love it, and now I can, where I just pull out this little box and I just sit down anywhere, and I'm good to go. So yeah, that's a far cry from the question you had. But I love performing out on the open, everywhere.
Is there anything about the music scene at the minute that irks you, or is there anything that you would describe as sort of the worst thing about the scene at the music?
Well, okay, simply put, music is like fashion now. So I don't like that about it, because music is about an expression that comes from your soul, and when you start thinking of your marketing plan before you write your song, that irks me.
So song first, maybe marketing afterwards.
Music
if you want
always first.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you don't want to ruin. It's like a good soup, and then you put some dirty water in it.
Would you ever some artists and DJs feature their kids and their spouses on there? Would you ever be inclined to feature?
That's great. Kid Koala does that all the time, and whenever I go to his house, I'm so inspired seeing his kids getting recorded into his newest thing. That's great. That's even closer to home, and me and my wife we're working on a little EP together where we record sounds, and stuff like it's fun, and that's coming right back to it, is where music is in the soul. Do things that are close to you, where love is, and then love is right where your family is. Of course, you want to include your kids and your brothers and it's like when I go to Israel to visit some family, I try to go, and because I haven't seen them in years and everything, I'll record my cousin playing saxophone and try and do my best to get a little bit of a sample of him to include in my music. Yeah. That's happiness right there.
Perfect. Well, thank you ever so much for coming in and for bringing your mixer and for taking your time out of your extremely busy schedule.